when you start going through all the factors that actually really create deep programming, many of us are unaware that we're constantly repeating our parents' drug habits, bad money habits, fear habits, phobias. And because of exactly what we talked about in the beginning, and me and you both running into this situation where you give people good advice, but they don't use it, I had to start looking into all this. And I was just amazed at how most of my work had to begin with in utero, and also looking into the family tree and looking at what's being passed down generationally through generational trauma. And when I started working with that in concert with, rehabilitation or athletes, for example, that maybe did really well, got to the Olympics, but then can't seem to get back to their level of performance, and they're stuck and they don't know why. And so I have to work on these types of people. But it almost always, the pay dirt is down there in the first 7 years, mostly, of a person's life. And I think most people walk around completely clueless to the fact that this is actually still running.
Yeah, we at my institute, we have a 150-point questionnaire that just asks the same thing 150 times in different ways so that we can see all the patterns that are still there. And yes, some of them are financial. I mean, there's only 5 major categories of self-saboteur. Like there's the victim saboteur, there's the financial saboteur, there's the child mind, pain aversion saboteur. So, and there's 2 other categories, but you're right. It's all about trying, and the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So anytime you ask someone 150 questions, and the more they talk, the easier it is to pick out, of course, because you're going to see the patterns inside. And that's what we really focus on. This is exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, unfortunately, about that conflictual energy that, say, and we do have questions in the questionnaire about, did you go to Sunday school? Were you exposed to any conventional religion in the first 12 years of life? Not saying it's a bad thing, but those conflicts, basically it's just destructive interference. You'll have one brainwave come in to your consciousness that, yeah, God loves me, and the opposite brainwaves with opposite peaks and troughs come in that, God's going to punish you and, put you to the fire, put you to the pit. Well, that causes, this flat line, right? Destructive interference will cancel both brain waves into a flat line, and that's also a form of weakness. So I do believe at one time with great leaders, there could have been a transfer of spiritual knowledge without this conflict and this competing ideas and confusion. One of the best authors on mind control is Just Merleau, and he has the rape.
I listened to his book.
Yeah, his book is fantastic, and he dedicates quite a bit to confusion as one of the necessary ingredients of effective mind control. And of course, we all know, or maybe we don't, but this is why you could go to a restaurant with a mask on, and then you could sit down in a restaurant and take your mask off. That was confusing, and they said the medicine was safe and effective, but they needed full legal liability for the safe and effective product that was going to kill and injure people. So there was so much confusion, so much of what you're talking about, and it's a weapon. It's really a psychological weapon to have a cessation of thought, cause a flat line in the prefrontal cortex, and outsource everything to the limbic system, where the jukebox of programs are ready to play at any time, that there's a fear response. So yeah, I completely understand your point. Is the more confused the person is, the more competing ideas you hold in your mind at the same time. I guess they call that the dissonance, that were cognitive dissonance. But the more of these competing ideas you hold in your mind at the same time, the easier you are to mind control.